Yes. Started, and I am sharing then my. So today we will present a call for applications to receive funding of the Fund for Development Cooperation and Humanitarian Aid. We will talk about where to look for information, what are the documentation of the call, it means the terms and conditions annexes, what is new in this call, terms and conditions of the call. We will mention the timeline of the call, what to know when filling out the project application, and we will answer your questions. Your questions you can write down in the chat section, and we will answer you all of them after both presentations. So where to look for information? All the information about the call and its documentation is published in CPVA website. Once you open CPVA website, you can see the picture that you see on the right top here to go directly to the calls information. This one will disappear after the deadline, but you can always find the call and its information on the left side of our website in the section Development Cooperation and Humanitarian Aid, choosing calls for proposals and current one by year. The purpose of this call is to select and finance projects in line with the strategic directions for Lithuanian development cooperation and the concepts. So the documentation that we have, here you can see on my slide on the left. And on our website, if you go to the calls information, it will be exactly the same, just on the right. And the first one is it's a link to go to submit application. It directs to application submission system where you can fill in and submit the application. The rest are the documents. The first one is the terms and conditions, and then we have the annexes. So the annexes to the call are the concepts. This year we have 9 of them. It's the form for project application estimate, forms for applicant's confirmation, declaration by the project promoter and partner, plans for implementation of the project activities and publicity of the project, certificate of justification for voluntary work, and evaluation forms of administrative compliance, and content and reasonableness of costs of project application. So what is new in this call? Here I am providing only a few of the fundamental changes that are in my point of view. Of course, if you will be looking through the call terms and conditions of the call and its annexes year compared to year, there will be many more differences. So the first change that I would like to mention is that up to 50% of required own contribution may be in the form of an in-kind contribution that needs to be valued in monetary terms, and it can be contributed by non-governmental or social partner definitions meeting project promoter, applicant, or partner when applicable. There are many more terms and conditions set and more in detail in the call. You can review them in paragraphs 6.5 and 9. I will go briefly through them later. The application, the next one change is that the application must be together with the application, you should submit a mandatory document, the project application estimate, failing which to submit together with the application the application will be rejected. It might look that it's not a big change. What is changed that last year there were 3 mandatory documents. This year we have only 1. It doesn't mean that all other documents are not necessary. They are important. They need to be submitted. Only that it might be asked during the evaluation. The next change is that not only the application will be rejected if it hasn't met the requirements of administrative eligibility assessment, but also if it scores 55 points or less during the assessment of the project's content and reasonableness of the costs, or if it scores less than 50% of the total score in at least of one of the groups of assessment criteria. In total, we have 6 assessment criteria, so at least in 1. Applicants and project partners can be Lithuanian and foreign legal entities, other organizations, their subdivisions, and natural persons. The applicant must have at least 1 partner registered in the partner country. A partner in the partner country is not necessary if the project application is submitted by an applicant registered in a partner country. So I would like to stop here and to speak a bit maybe more in detail to explain with examples that in this case, if the applicant to say that if the applicant, project promoter, is, let's say, Lithuanian registered organization, it means that it needs to have at least 1 partner registered in the partner country. So let's say this applicant is submitting the application for the concept number 2, where the partner country is Moldova. So the applicant that is registered in Lithuania needs to have a project partner that is registered in Moldova, partner country. On the other side, if in the same concept, the applicant is registered in Moldova and it submits for concept number 2, the project application, in such case, this applicant registered in Moldova doesn't need to have a partner another partner registered in Moldova. It's enough it can be without partner. What worth to mention here and to take note that it depends also on the concept, and and we would advise to read carefully the concept and its project goals and objectives. For example, if some concept is having a goal or objective where it's written that the goal is to transfer some knowledge, some experience of Lithuania to the partner country. So the applicant being in, let's say, as an example, in Moldova, might be needing to justify more in detail in their application how they will be transferring the Lithuanian experience or other to Moldova, not having any partner. Maybe it could be considered to have a partner in Lithuania in such case. The applicant is in Moldova, but the partner is in Lithuania. Special requirements for applicants and partners can be set in concepts, and one applicant can submit only 1 application per 1 concept. So if an applicant or partners submits are in more than 1 project application per the same concept, all the applications where they are participating, it doesn't matter if they are as an applicant or in all as a partner, all the applications for that concept will be rejected. The project application, of course, needs to should meet all the requirements of the call and concept. There are many more requirements for applicant and project partner that are described and set in the terms and conditions of the call. So here we are mentioning some of them, such as that an applicant or a partner will be not eligible if it has not repaid the previously received funds of the fund. So, for example, if the applicant was already project promoter in some of the projects that were financed by the fund, and it was requested to repay some funds because maybe they didn't spend enough or something was ineligible. So, and such payments are not made, it would be not eligible. Also, such applicants as or project partners, which are in the list of law of international sanctions of the Republic of Lithuania, and other lists where are confirmed that something is not done according to the laws, or fulfilling the laws as tax payment obligations or others. So briefly, we will go through the concepts. When you are choosing the concept, which one you are applying to, we recommend to review them more deeply, to open them, to download from our website. So the concept number one, it has a partner country, Republic of Armenia, areas of cooperation, democracy and civil society, public awareness. We can see the project, there are the set project aim, project objectives, and the target groups that should be in the project is civil society organizations. Concept number two, where the partner country is Moldova, Republic of Moldova, areas of cooperation is media. There are the project aim, which should be, and project objectives that should be reached. The target group would be national and regional media, journalists of such concept. Concept number three is also directed to Moldova, so partner country is Moldova, area of cooperation, good governance. Again, we can see the aim and objectives that should be reached, and target group is state institutions of Moldova. Concept number four, already from the title of the concept, we can see that the partner country will be Iraq. Areas of cooperation, here we have gender equality and women empowerment and education. We have set aim and the objectives that should be reached during the project. And target groups should be women and girls seeking to strengthen their economic and social skills. Concept number five, where the partner country we find Kenya, area of cooperation, digitalization and innovation. It has aim, two objectives, and the target group is public sector in Kenya. Concept number six is for Georgia, partner country Georgia, areas of cooperation, democracy and civil society, public awareness. Project aim and objectives are set, and the target groups are civil society organizations. Concept number seven, partner country Ukraine, area of cooperation, healthcare. Here we can see what aim the project should be seeking to, and we can see 4 project objectives. We can see a slight difference in this concept, as in the 5th point of this concept, it's mentioned that the project will be considered suitable if it meets at least 2 objectives. So at least 2 of these 4 objectives should be raised and reached during the project and planned. Of course, it can be more. Again, we have a difference in the target group. The target group is Ukrainians that are in Ukraine and are affected by the war against Ukraine. And the target group can be selected one of the following, or children, or people with disabilities, or women that are victims of violence. Concept number 8, we have 3 partner countries, Nigeria, Kenya, and Ghana. We have a marking here that it's saying that at least that you can choose, you can select one or multiple countries. So you can choose if your partner country will be only one of them, or 2 of them, or all 3 of them. Areas of cooperation are digitalization and innovation, gender equality, and women empowerment. There are aim objectives, and the target group would be young people and women seeking active engagement in the job market, starting their own businesses, or looking to acquire skills to expand their businesses. And the last one concept number 9, where we have 4 partner countries, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, and Armenia. Again, you can select 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them. Area of cooperation is democracy and civil society. We have a project team, we have objectives that are even with sub-objectives, if I could say. And target groups would be civil society organizations of partner countries. So it means that if you chose of one country, so of that country, let's say you are choosing that your partner country is Ukraine and Georgia, 2 countries you selected, so your target group should be civil society organizations of Ukraine and Georgia. The amount intended to be allocated from the fund according to this call is 850,000. The minimum amount of funding that can be requested from the fund per one project is not less than 30,000 and not more than 100,000. It means that less than that or more than that, it would be not meeting the terms and conditions of this call. If the total cost of the project is less or equal to 50,000 euros, the project duration should be not more than 12 months, cannot be more than 12 months. However, if the total value of the project is more than 50,000 euros, the project could be planned for 6, for 12 months, but not more than 24 months, not more than 2 years. The share financed by the fund, the share that you can request to be financed by the fund, cannot be more than 90% of the total project value. So it means that the minimum amount of your own contribution should be 10% of the total value of the project. As per example, that I would say the example that the total value of the project that you planned and set in the estimate of the project application for project to happen is 50,000 euros. In such case, according to these terms, the maximum amount from the fund that you can request is 45,000 euros, and the minimum amount of your own contribution can be not less than 5,000 euros. Of course, you can always set more of your own contribution. It can be going up. From the fund, you can ask less than 90%. But how much it will be set during the application, this will be needed to be followed during all the project, even implementation, if such project will be financed. So, for example, you choose that your own contribution is 10%. It means that 90% is confirmed from the fund, then from your own contribution. During the implementation of such project, all the declared costs, expenses would be paid in 90-10 proportion. As I was already mentioning before, up to 50% of the required own contribution, maybe in the form of an in-kind contribution. So if to follow the previous example where your total project cost was 50,000, you requested from the fund 45 and you are contributing, your own contribution is 5,000. So if you are meeting all other terms and conditions for in-kind contribution, or up to 50% of that 5,000, of that 10% of your own contribution could be in-kind contributed. So 2,500 maximum, 2,500 could be in-kind contribution. The indirect project cost cannot be more than 10% of total value of the project, and all the costs that you are planning in the project application estimate should be justified and supported by documentation or commercial offers or other. So in-kind contribution to the project is possible only if the project promoter, the applicant, meets the definition of non-governmental or social non-governmental organization or social partner. In terms and conditions, you can find the definitions. So if project promoter applicant meets the definition and is an NGO or social partner, in such case, in such project, in-kind contribution can be only by project promoter or project partner that is also NGO or social partner. So we provide 3 situations to explain maybe more in detail what is meant. That in the first situation, if the project promoter is an NGO and the project partner is an NGO, in-kind contribution to such project is possible, and both project promoter and project partner can contribute in kind. Second situation would be that project promoter is an NGO and the project partner is not an NGO or social partner. In-kind contribution is still possible in such project, but only the project promoter that is NGO can contribute in kind. And the third situation would be that the project promoter and applicant is not an NGO or social partner, doesn't meet these definitions, but the project partner is an NGO. In such case, in-kind contribution to the project will not be possible because the project promoter is not meeting NGO or social partner definitions. So here would be worth to mention and to take note that you need to look if you really meet the definition of NGO or social partner to use to contribute in kind 50% of their own contribution, because if in-kind contribution would be not possible according to the terms and conditions of the call, but an applicant, the project promoter, would plan such expenses, such contribution, and during the evaluation, evaluators would find such expenses, such contribution ineligible. In this way, your own contribution might not reach the terms, the conditions that are met in the conditions that are met in the call, that it needs to be not less than 10%. An in-kind contribution can be only voluntary work where the actual time is spent and is expressed in monetary value. Voluntary work must be measurable, must have a result, must be producing something. The in-kind contribution should be expressed in monetary value using the volunteering rates that are set by European Commission in terms and conditions. You can find the link to that. And in case such a project is financed, the voluntary work will be needed to be documented in a written contract between the volunteer and employee. And the same person will not be able to work as employee for the same job and do the volunteering, like splitting in the same activity. Here we can see the eligible cost of the project. We can find them in the terms and conditions as well, more in detail maybe. So the eligible cost of the project can be the direct costs for implementing the project activities. That would be the costs that are meant for some specific activity to happen. Like you are planning the project aim, project objective. Under the project objective, you are planning some activities. So to reach that objective and for that activity to happen, the direct costs are planned. It can be expenses for your personnel, for the staff that is for its salary that is performing that activity, that direct activity, or if you are some costs that are for expert services, some business trips, and other in the activity scope. The eligible costs of the project are also indirect project management costs. That would be the expenses which are not directly directed for the specific activity to happen, but they are needed and they are necessary for the project itself to happen. Such could be the salary for project promoter, for the finances who are administrating, who are preparing the reports, who are managing the project. Of course, also the cost of acquiring project administration services and etc. The ineligible cost of the project would be everything what is not eligible. Of course, to add that an in-kind contribution that doesn't meet the conditions that are set out in this call is as well not eligible. The VAT recoverable that you can recover, it's not eligible. The expenses that are already financed from another funding sources is not eligible. It means cannot be double financing, financed double. What I would like to mark, maybe to specify that the cost of meals for employees of the project promoter partner are also ineligible if they have been paid per diem allowance during their business trip, because per diem is meant for meals already. Also, the cost of meals and accommodation provided by service providers also should be not eligible if as they should be included in the service rate. The service provider should include in his service price all the taxes already related, all the costs that needs to be that he needs to have for service to provide. Of course, there is exception that unless otherwise are set in the contract between this who buys this service and the service provider. So if in the contract will be specified that additionally it's planned something, it might be. The expenses that are planned not during the project implementation period also will be not eligible. All applications must be completed and submitted only in electronic form and only via the electronic submission system submittable. In any other form, it cannot be submitted and it will not be accepted. The application can be completed in Lithuanian or English language. So basically, Lithuanian applicants should complete and submit in Lithuanian language, and foreign applicants should complete and submit in English. If they wish, they can do in Lithuanian. if the application is together with the application, you provide documents that are issued in other languages than Lithuanian or English, such documents should be submitted in original language and adding to them the translation to English or Lithuanian. As was mentioned before, the mandatory document that should be submitted together with the application is the project application estimate. Other documents would be also necessary, such as signed confirmation of the project applicant, declaration by the project promoter and project partner, and other. You can find the full list of the documentation that depends on the situation when it's needed, or if it's needed, you can find it in terms and conditions of the call. Once submitted the application, after the deadline, the project application will be evaluated in 2 stages. First stage is administrative eligibility assessment, and the second stage is assessment of the content and costs. During the administrative eligibility assessment, will be evaluated if the application meets the administrative eligibility criteria, and if it doesn't meet that, it will be rejected. The main administrative compliance eligibility criteria are if it's submitted until the deadline, if application is submitted in the right form, in the right manner, if the project partner or an applicant are meeting the terms and conditions of the call, if was submitted only one application per one concept of those applicants and project partners that are submitting, if the application is submitted for the area of cooperation that is set in the concept, if there is a partner in the project when it's needed and when it's necessary. Again, if the project estimate is submitted, and already mentioned the amounts of funding, like if the amount requested to be funded is meeting the requirements, if own contribution is meeting, and the duration planned of the project is according to the set rules. So if during the assessment of administrative eligibility assessment, the project application is confirmed as eligible, it's not declined, not rejected. It goes to the second stage, and is and for such application, the assessment of the content and reasonableness of cost of the project application will be performed, and such evaluation will result in the awarding the points and awarding the total score for the project. The overall score for the application will be average of scores given by the evaluators of that application. And as was mentioned before, application would be rejected if overall score of the application will be 55 or less points. And if it will score less than 50% of the sum of at least one group of evaluation criteria. Once the evaluation of applications will finish, it will be prepared the list. In the list, the applications will be ranked from the highest score to the lowest in each concept. So in each concept will be ranked from the highest to the lowest points given, and priority will be given to the funding of at least one application per concept. The timeline of the call would be that, as probably you know already, the project applications must be submitted until 7 May 5:00 Lithuanian time. Here I would like to mark and to take note that it's very important to remember that date and to follow, to be sure that you will submit until that 5:00. Once the clock turns 5:00, the submission system will close itself the possibility to submit such application, and you will have no possibility anymore to submit it. In this, therefore, we are always recommending and mentioning that we highly recommend to submit applications at least 2-3 days before the deadline, so you would be sure that nothing is missing, that you are ready to submit, that there are no interruptions, and if you are submitting 2-3 days before, or you can do of course more, if you are submitting during some days before, you can always still have time to contact us or to reach us if you find that you don't understand some of the point, or you would like some more explanation, more details on that. We try to answer all the emails as soon as possible, but of course the last day might be hard to expect to get all the needed answers until your needed time. So once the project application is submitted and the deadline comes, will be started the evaluation, as I was mentioning, administrative compliance evaluation, and then the content and cost evaluation, after which the list will be prepared and the final decision for funding of the applications will be taken by the governing board of the fund. We expect that signing of the project implementation agreements will be happening in August 2024. So I am stopping here and I will ask my colleague to continue.
Okay, thank you, Greta. I will pick from here. One moment, please. Okay, and I will go through what to know when filling out a project application. The most important things that are important in both project evaluation stages, meaning what is important in terms of these two project evaluation stages. Okay, I will start with the administrative eligibility assessment stage. And here we have the mandatory document, which has to be submitted with the project application. If the and this document is the project application estimate. And as Greta mentioned, this is the only document which has to be submitted with the project application. And if it is not submitted, the project application is rejected, and the right to submit the missing document during the project application evaluation is not granted. There is no, I would like to repeat, there is no other mandatory documents to be attached to the project application, which leads to irrevocable rejection of the project application. So it's a very important thing to note. And next, the most common mistake is that the same legal entity is named as applicant or project partner in more than one project application under a single concept. And here I would like to provide an example. Let's say company X submitted a project application for concept 1, and company H also submitted a project application for concept 1, and stated in it that it is submitting the project application with the project partner company X. And in this case, it is estimated that company X is indicated as an applicant and the project partner in more than one project application in a single concept. And in such a case, all project applications will be rejected. And this type of information provided in the project application cannot be updated by the applicant during the evaluation of the project application. Therefore, it's very important to be sure that you are not mentioned in the other project application as project partner in a single concept. Next most common mistake is that it is unsecured own contribution to the project. And in case of this call, at least 10% of the total amount of the project cost should be your own contribution. And if the project application is not in line with this requirement, application will be rejected. And this type of information provided in the project application cannot be updated by the applicant during the evaluation of the project application. And next very important thing is that the project applicant should have a project partner registered in the partner country. A project partner in partner country is not necessary if the project application is submitted by an applicant registered in the partner country. Greta already mentioned, but I would like to repeat this important point. For example, in case of first concept, partner country is Republic of Armenia, then if the project promoter is not registered in Republic of Armenia, they have to have a project partner. And if project promoter is registered in Republic of Armenia, that it is not obligatory for him to have partner, but it is not forbidden to have it. And this type of information, as well as other mentioned above, cannot be updated by the applicant during the evaluation of applications. What is important when assessing the content and reasonableness of costs of the project application? There are 6 criteria for evaluation of content and reasonableness of cost of project application. It is the relevance of the project justification, financial justification of the project continuity, impact on the target group and sustainability of results, project management and experience, and the specific criteria. As you can see, the highest value is for project justification and financial justification of the project. So as well, other criteria are important, but they have low points, low numbers of points. When describing the relevance of the project, the information must be specific, relevant to the project, and presented in a concentrated manner. reference to legal acts, the specific clauses must be provided in the project application, justification, how they correspond to or contribute to the specific policy, strategy, or goal specified in the concept. The problem addressed by the project must be relevant and significant, clearly defined and analyzed. And the most common mistake is that the relevance of the project is described superficially. References to relevant legal acts are not provided. Project significance is unjustified. What's important in terms of project justification, it should be mentioned that project aim and project objectives should comply the concept, meaning, for example, in concept one, project aim is to enhance societal resilience to disinformation and hybrid threats in Armenia. It means that the project aim should be the same or equal. The same goes with the project objectives, and all three project objectives should be in the project application. Project should seek to comply these project objectives, except for concept 7, as Greta mentioned, and paying your attention to that there are some exceptions when there are mentioned 4 project objectives, and not less than 2 can be chosen. And the most common mistake that the aim and or objectives of the project do not correspond to the concept or only partially correspond to it. Project activities must be linked to the project aim and objectives and form the assumptions for the implementation of the project's objectives. The results of the project must be specific, quantitatively expressed. It had to be mentioned that it is very important to express results in quantitative manner, and these results must be measurable. They have to be clearly separated and detailed according to the activities performed. And the project application must maintain a consistent internal logic of the project. And the most common mistake is that the activities and results of the project are not specific, not measurable, do not correspond to the aim, objective, or activities of the project. So it's very important to understand the logic of the project and have measurable results. The same goes with the target group. The target group of the project must comply with the target group mentioned in the concept. For example, in concept 1, we have civic society or organizations. So the same should be the same target group should be in the project application, the project, and this target group must be determined very clearly. Its inclusion in the implementation of activities must be described, and so on. This is a good example for filling out project aim, objective, activities, and results. And as you can see here, the result of first activity: prepare the overview of the situation of vocational education in Iraq, 1 PC. It is clear that one document will be prepared. And here we have the second example where the result of the second activity of the first objective is described very clearly and has clear result. And here is the description of the target group. Target group is clearly described. We know that we can assume that this group is in line with the concept, and target group is expressed in numbers. So it is very important. It is very important issues when evaluating the project application. So it is very important to include this information in the project application. Another important thing in the project application is project implementation plan. And sometimes the plan for implementation of project activities and its publicity are not detailed and not separated between each other, meaning project implementation activities and project publicity activities overlap, and it is not, and we do not know which is which. I should note that the plan for the activities of the project activities must be drawn up in accordance with the activities plan in the project application. A logical sequence and detail must be maintained. A rational implementation period must be provided for the implementation of a project and its publicity activities, ensuring sufficient time to implement them. And the project and publicity activities must be clearly separated and planned in separate implementation plans. And here is provided a good example where you can see that project activities described in paragraph 3.1 of the project application are forwarded to the project implementation plan in the part project activities, and project publicity activities described in paragraph 4.4 of the project application are provided in project publicity plan in project publicity plan section. What is important when preparing a project application estimate? It's another important document which has to be attached to the project application. And when justifying a project cost, it is important that the amount of own contribution to the project cannot be less than 10% of the total project costs. Indirect project costs cannot be more than 10% of the total project costs, and in-kind contribution cannot be more than 50% of the share of own contribution, and project costs can be incurred by project promoter and project partner. No other institutions or persons can incur project costs. As Greta mentioned all costs that are included in the project application estimate must be supported by the documentation, and in case of goods, services, of works costs, free commercial offers should be submitted with the project application, or when the price of the object is up to or equal to 15,000 euro without VAT, it is enough to submit one commercial offer. And it should be noted that commercial offers must be no older than 3 months before the deadline for submission of project applications, and the average price of the commercial offers should be included in the project application estimate. Other documents, if you do not have a commercial office, you can submit screenshots of at least 3 web pages of online shops showing the prices of the goods, services, or works, or provide a copy of signed contract for goods, services, or works if it was concluded no earlier than 1 year before the deadline of submission of project application. But this applies only when those goods, services, or works are equivalent to those included in the project application estimate. And when we talk about the salary, to support the salary costs, you should submit certificates on the rates normally applied in the institution, certificates on the 6 months average salary of specific employee, certificates on the average total salary of employees in the relevant position, or reference to publicly available information on average salaries in Lithuania or partner country. In case of voluntary work, you should provide a certificate of justification for the voluntary work plan to cover part of their own contribution. This is Annex 6 to the call, and it is published with the call documents. This form is prescribed by the CPVA and shall be submitted as supporting the documentation with project application. There are some cases where no justification is required. It is the first case is for short-term experts and speakers working under service contracts, and where such costs are planned per person and they are not more than or equal to 350 euro per working day, or 43.75 euro per working hour, and include all other related costs of the short-term expert or speakers. And the second is for travel to a foreign country, and where such costs do not exceed the European Commission's per diem rates. And linked to the European Commission per diem rates is published with the terms and conditions of the call, and you can find the link there. Also, it's very important to know that the rates referred to here, which are here mentioned and referred in paragraph 8.12 of the terms and condition of the call, are used only for purpose of evaluating project applications, and when the implementation of the project start, actual expenditures will have to be declared and the supporting documents submitted. So the cost must be planned consistently according to the project structure, meaning according to the project objectives and activities planned in the project application. The project application estimate must show a clear relation between project objectives, activities, and planned costs. All supporting documents must be attached to the project application, as scores will be given based on information provided with the initial project application. I should emphasize this sentence because it's very important, as you see, to provide all documentation on all supporting documentation with the project application to get the highest scores for the project application. Of course, the CPVA can ask applicant to submit missing documentation, but this information will be used only for determining the eligible costs, but not increase the score of the project application. When costs are based on commercial offers, such costs should be included in the project application estimate based on average price, as is already mentioned, and these commercial offers the average price of these commercial offers should not be rounded to the whole number. The cost should be included in the project application estimate with the euros and euro cents. When costs are based on certificates or a plan according to the fixed rates, they must not exceed the amount specified in the certificates or rates. The cost must be planned in accordance with the limitations set for the requested amount and indirect project costs, in-kind contribution and own contribution costs. And the most important thing is that the amount requested from the fund of the project should be in the range of 30,000 to 100,000 euro. And it should be mentioned that the amount requested from the fund should be not mixed with the total value of the project. And here's presented a good example where you can see that project objective mentioned in paragraph 3.1 of the project application is forwarded to the project application estimate, meaning if in the project application you mentioned that the project objective is to analyze the situation of vocational education in Iraq and etc., the same should be mentioned in the project application. And the same goes with the project activities. They should be the same as it is mentioned in the project application in paragraph 3.1. And here is an example of filled out project application estimate. The project application estimate has the formulas to ease your work and to check whether information provided in it is correct and in line with the call requirements. And as you can see, the amount of own contribution to the project is not lower than 10% of the total project cost. You can see in own contribution line in project funding source part of the project estimate, and in-kind contribution is not higher than 50% of the share of own contribution. Here, in-kind contribution is planned in indirect project cost part, but it can be planned in direct cost part of the project estimate. So it's not matter where you plan them. It's important that it is more important that they are in line with the eligible and non-eligible costs. The descriptions in direct project costs are not higher than 10% of the total project costs, and you can here check in the note part of the total and direct project costs line the percentage of total direct project costs. And what was already mentioned, that all costs must be supported with the supporting documents. And as you can see, overview preparation services are planned in 1.1.1 line of the project estimate. And in the note part of it, it's mentioned that the price is set according to the 3 commercial offers, meaning the average price. And in the project estimate line 1-to-1 export services, in note part, it's mentioned that costs are planned according to the paragraph 8.12.1 of the call, as it was already mentioned that no supporting documents are needed in such a case when evaluating project application. And the fourth criteria, project continuity, impact of the target group, and sustainability of results. And this part of application evaluation should be mentioned that the project application must identify the project and its activities to be continued after the end of the project, the need for such continuation, and the specific arguments as to how and by which specific institutions the continuation will be ensured. It's very important to mention specific institutions responsible for continuation of the project. And the project application must indicate how the transferability and continuity of the project results will be ensured. The specific institution or persons responsible for ensuring the use of the project results. Again, it's very important to mention specific institutions, persons responsible, and so on. And the project application must clearly identify the specific impact of the project on the target group. And the most common mistake is that the continuity of the project and its impact on the target group are described in non-specific manner or not in detail. The fifth criteria is the project management and experience. And here we have project team and it's evaluated description of how it was described, project team and experts, and the project management structure, functions of the team in the project must be clearly described. If experts are used, the necessity of their participation in the project must be justified, and the number of experts participating in the project must be specified. The requirements for the experience must be specified as well. The most important risks of the project, their impact and specific risk management measures must be listed and assessed in the project application. And sometimes it happens that the project management structure, the experience of the team members is not described in detail. The necessity of the team members or expert is not justified. The project risks are assessed superficially. Here's example, good example, how the information could be provided, how detailed information could be provided in the project application, and it will be assessed whether the project promoter, applicant, and at least one member of the project team who will carry out project activities according to information provided in the application, have experience while implementing projects financed by Development Cooperation funds or other funds. Therefore, it's important to provide the required information for one and for two parts of the project application. And it will be assessed whether the project manager has experience in implementing at least one similar project. And here we mean a similar project, and when the similar projects funded by the Development Cooperation are implemented with a value of at least 70% of the total value of the project, as indicated in paragraph 1.4 of the project application. I should stop here and pay attention to one detail, especially for people who started filling out the project application. After a call was published, a technical error was noticed. It was wrong paragraph mentioned for the total value of the project. So this error is already fixed and reflects in the project application and the call documents. But if you started preparing application 2 weeks, let's say 2 weeks or a week ago, just pay attention that at the description of the similar at the description of a similar project, and the exact paragraph that should be referred to. And the project application must be specific, specify that experts will or will not be used. If expert will be used and specific experts are known, it must be additionally indicated which experts will be used, their functions and experience, and specific experts to be used are not yet known. Then in such a case, information on the number of experts needed, the requirements for the experts and their functions in the project must be provided in the project application. Here is good examples. You can study them later on. And in case of this call, additional scores will be awarded if the project promoter applies corruption prevention practices in its activities. When the applicant is a legal entity, the project application must clearly state that the project promoter has implemented anti-corruption program, action plan, or transparency standard. Or project application must clearly state that the project promoter is a member of the Clear Wave initiative. The Clear Wave initiative is a collective action initiative to promote business integrity and transparency. And of course, supporting documents or references to publicly available information, which must be provided together with the project application. And in case one project promoter is a natural person, the project application must clearly state that the project promoter has completed the course International Bribery, organized by the Lithuanian Special Investigation Service. Here is the link to those courses. Those courses, of course, are mentioned in the terms and conditions of the call. And of course, supporting document, in this case, a certificate must be provided with the project application. In the specific criteria part, we have project publicity, and in case of project publicity measures must be planned for publicizing the project in Lithuania and in each partner country. The project must include specific publicity measures, indicate references to them, the frequency of publicity and the size of intended audience. After planning the project publicity plan must be completed. As it was mentioned, formation, the project application and project publicity plan must be the same. And the most common mistake is that the means of publicizing the project and are described in general terms or are insufficient. What is new and important to note that additional points will be awarded if the project promoter has not implemented or is currently not implementing any project financed by the fund in the last 1 year. And points will be awarded in this case based on information provided in the project application and available to the CPIV. That is all for today, and maybe we could skip to the question part.
Yes, I'm coming back then, and we can still see your, okay. Okay, so in the chat we have one question. We have a question, if did I understand correctly that the lead partner of the project can be only NGO, and as SME it's not eligible as an applicant? So if I understand correctly, lead partner, you mean that it's an applicant, a project promoter that is leading the project? No, project partner, and the same goes for a project promoter, an applicant. They can be, I will quote soon, but basically it can be the, one second, can be Lithuanian and foreign legal entities, other organizations, their subdivisions, and natural persons. So there is no exclusion for only for NGOs or some another type. What probably was why it could be mentioned, it can be that it's related with in-kind contribution. If you want to, if you are a lead partner, if you are a project promoter, an applicant, and you would like to contribute in kind, I mean your own contribution to contribute in your own contribution to add in kind contribution, then yes, should be you should be or NGO or social partner. Social partner is having also wider definition. Social partner is or employers association and or trade union, and there are descriptions of the associations and trade unions. So yes, in case of in-kind contribution, then yes. Next question is, if an NGO is registered in Estonia, has a country office registered in Georgia, would it be sufficient for partnership, or the local partner should be a local organization? This should be probably, to answer that, I would need probably to look deeper, but from the first, what it sounds, that if there is an office that is registered in Georgia, and as I understand, you are applying for the concept that is for Georgia, for the partner country Georgia, then probably that partner can be already an applicant. Or yes, if you will be NGO registered in Estonia and partnership, I think you should just describe much more in detail what do you mean about that, and that you need in the application correctly include that the partner is that registered in Georgia partner. I don't know how the companies are, if they are splitted, if how they are together contributing, and if it can be already, if it's partnership, or it's better that the office that is registered in Georgia is submitting to as an applicant and participates together NGO registered in Estonia. So it would be a bit not knowing exactly the form maybe of the cooperation that you have between these offices. I understand that it's like some international, maybe something, but if it's possible to state as a partner, then yes. So I don't know if I answered clearly the question, because I understand that I am not giving direct yes or no, but I would suggest to think through from the thought that if from the side, if you will meet the terms and conditions, paragraph 3 of terms and conditions, there will be description, and there is written what can be applicants, what can be project partners, and when it's needed to have a partner and when it's no. So in case you will be still not sure, I would suggest to write to us on our email, maybe, and to describe maybe more a bit in detail this partnership, or to call us with a bit more detalization. I was seeing a hand, but I see that it disappeared. So no more hands. Let's wait, maybe will appear. Yes, yes, you can, Vadim.
Yes, hello, thank you.
Mm.
I would like to ask a question about co-financing, because in case that the leading organization is not an NGO, I read that in-kind co-financing is not possible, if I'm right. Yes, and in this case, could we provide the co-financing as the payments of the salary of the team for the project?
It would be the problem with that would be that in the terms and conditions it's written that the own contribution, it's paid and declared in the same proportion. So it's not that you can choose which line of the expenses will be your own contribution. In the in-kind contribution way, yes, you select and you say this is the voluntary work that we are doing. But in own contribution, everything is in the same proportion, and this is why, like when you will be declaring, if you would be declaring such expenses, you will get 90-10, 90-10, and for every expenses will be confirmed in the same proportion. So to answer your question, I would say probably not. Not only, maybe in some way you can plan. I don't know exactly what is your estimate and how you are planning it to do. Maybe it's possible somehow to plan that there is this proportion, but it's hard to imagine at the moment.
Thank you. And if possible, the second question regarding the VAT. Also, for private companies, VAT is not eligible, as I read in the conditions. And if it is not eligible, so may we orient our budget mainly for the salary of the team and some services, for example, the experts?
VAT is eligible, VAT. It's not eligible if you can recover it. There are some goods or some companies, they have possibility to get back it, like to declare it and to get it refunded. So in that way, they would get refunded by the country or by the refundant, and they would be paid also by the fund. So it would be like double financing on that case. But if you cannot refund it and you are paying and not getting back, it's possible, and that you can include it in the estimate.
Thank you. But do we need to show somehow that we're not recovering it, or
There is a question in the application if you can recover it. So submitting the application, you are confirming that everything is correct and that you are providing the correct information. Also, if such project would be funded in the contract, it would be also mentioned, and the same goes that you cannot refund. If it would change during the implementation of the contract, you should inform us and then recalculate, exclude then the VAT or VAT. I don't know, purchasing some things you discover that you can refund, then you just inform and don't include it.
Thank you very much. And regarding the previous question of one of the participants, if a company from another country, from registered in Estonia, for example, could participate with partner in Georgia. Actually, I have a similar situation and would like to ask you maybe about the company that is registered in Estonia, and it also has office in Moldova. But at the same time, this company that is registered in Estonia is international, and it has experience of work in Moldova already. Is it necessary to, for this Estonian company to make a partnership with a Moldovan company, or the company from Estonia could come along for implementation of activities in Moldova if it has already experience here?
Since it's international and if it covers also Moldova part registration, what I understand, it's the same as the previous question. Anyway, the registrations and probably the companies as such, they are separate because they have registration in one country, registration in another, but also they are international. So I think or should be I think this question could be as in another case I was thinking, or you could provide a bit more in detail how exactly you will be proving, because what I want to say that international organization as such, yes, it can be an applicant and promoter and everything. That connection with the partner should be that you don't need to have a partner. We have an exception only for that when you are registered already in Moldova, that you don't need a partner. So here is a bit on the edge to understand if really you would not need to have a registration, a partner registered in Moldova, or maybe you can include them in the project as a partners, like as this international one registered in Estonia is leading, is the project promoter applicant, and put that company as a partner that is registered there. Like this, you are fully surely you should meet. There would be no doubt.
Thank you very much. But if the company's policy is not to put a local partner, for example, and the international company has already experience with payments in Moldova and all kind of stuff related to project implementation, how to proceed if the company's policy is not to take an additional partner? So if it be eligible in such case, or
the company itself has a policy rule that cannot partner with any other partner.
Yes, that all projects shall be implemented by the international company that is registered in Estonia. This is a new rule. It wasn't before, but now this is a new rule, and we as the national offices have some points here because we need to reorient our processes what we did before. Before we did this simple with partnership, as you told, we had an international company and we had a local partner here in Moldova. Our company, this is the same company, but it registered in different countries. But now, because of this new rule, we need to undertake only international company, and this is the point. But the international company has all the necessary experience because it is implementer of the projects and it is dealing with all the payments and procurements and all kind of stuff here in Moldova.
Maybe you could write us your issue, and we could consider this and write you back then.
Yeah, maybe you could explain this policy a bit, that we could check, or in the application should be justified that international company doesn't need to have a partner because you're already having this. It's a bit limitation. It's as I was saying, there is no another exception. So yeah, maybe better to write an email to our given email of that situation and of that policy point, maybe.
Yeah, and your relations with your office in another country, how you are related. Are you separated companies or other type of relation?
Okay,